Hello everybody, today back in another video. Alright, my tennis around the world, it is time to preview the French Open Final 2025. Yeah, we had the final that we all expected. I've not seen one single tennis analyst, tennis fans, some fans that more wishing that Djokovic will be in the final, and then I don't think they will believing in it. But the majority of tennis analysts, the tennis lovers, tennis people around the world, they was expecting this final between Sinner and Alcaraz, because these are the two best players in the world. These two are owning the tour, at least Sinner and Alcaraz too. So, and like I said before in my previous videos, they don't have any big threats, to be quite honest. The other dudes, they just doesn't have the level high enough to stop these two. They just don't have it, all right? This is a two-man show. And these two will fight for the biggest tournaments, will fight for the biggest titles, and will go at each other to win the biggest tournaments in tennis. Sinner won the Australian Open early this year, and now they are going against each other who will win the second Grand Slam tournament of the year. Last year, both of these two shared the Grand Slam titles together. Alcaraz won French Open and Wimbledon. Sinner won Australian Open and US Open. So this is how it will look, because the top 10 that we have, they will not stop them. They will stop them outside Grand Slams here and there, mostly Alcaraz, because Alcaraz is more inconsistent than Sinner. But when it comes to the biggest tournament, when it comes to best of 5 sets, they will not stop them. It is just, we tennis lovers, it is just, we need to get used to this, all right? So that's why having these two going to the French Open final was not hard predicting, really. If someone up there says, oh, I predicted Sinner and Alcaraz to play the French Open final, so what? Yeah, it is like seeing an action movie and knowing that who will win and who will lose. It was more like that, really. And then here we are. Sinner has not dropped one single set in his 6 matches. He has looked ruthless. Alcaraz has dropped sets in all of his matches besides 2, which was the first set. The first match where he didn't drop one set and won his first round match straight sets, and his quarterfinal match against Tommy Paul, where he defeated Tommy Paul there in straight sets. These are the 2 only matches Alcaraz has not dropped sets. So if you compare these two, who has looked more impressing, it is Sinner. The dude has not dropped one single set in 6 matches. But we threw all of that outside from window. Why? Because it doesn't matter how you have looked before. Tennis is very, very much about matchups. The head-to-head, I believe, is 7-4 to Alcaraz's favor. So Alcaraz leads the head-to-head 7-4. They faced each other only a couple of weeks ago at Rome, where Alcaraz won his straight sets. So just because Sinner has looked more impressive than Alcaraz in this year's French Open doesn't mean that Sinner is the favorite here. No, not at all. Alcaraz has also won his last 4 meetings against Sinner. He has 4 consecutive wins against Sinner. So when it comes to Grand Slams, let me think how many times they faced each other in Grand Slams. They faced each other once at Wimbledon, I think back in 2022, 4th round, a match where Sinner won in 4 sets against Alcaraz in the 4th round, back in 22. And then, same year, they faced each other at US Open in 2022 in the quarterfinals, a match where Alcaraz won in 5 sets. So, actually, Sinner had 1 match point in that match against Alcaraz in that quarterfinal meeting at US Open 2022, but didn't convert them, and Alcaraz won that match, and the rest is history. 2023, let me think here, did they face each other in a Grand Slam match? No, they didn't. No. And then 2024, they faced each other let me think here. Yeah, in that French Open semi-final last year, which match where Alcaraz won in 5 sets. So they faced each other 3 times in the Grand Slam events. 1 time at Wimbledon 2022, a match Sinner won. 1 time at US Open 2022, a match Alcaraz won, and 1 time in 2024 at it's French Open semi-final, a match Alcaraz won in 5 sets. So it is 2-1 in Alcaraz's favor in Grand Slams. But this is the first ever time they are facing each other in a Grand Slam final. All of those other 3 meetings have been in 4th round, quarterfinal, and semi-final. And now they're facing each other for the first time in a Grand Slam final. They have never lost a Grand Slam final, so now one of them will taste defeat for the first time in a Grand Slam final. Alcaraz has won 4 out of 4 Grand Slam finals. Sinner has won 3 out of 3 Grand Slam finals. You know, guys who have watched my video and followed my video, I've said during the entire these 2 weeks, Sinner's only threat, Sinner can only be stopped from Carlos Alcaraz. Nobody else will stand a chance. And that was right to say so. Because we have the evidence now. Sinner has went to this French Open final without dropping 1 single set. So Sinner completely destroys everybody. Like Alcaraz said after he won against Lawrence Musetti, he said that Sinner is destroying everybody else. So Sinner's kryptonite is Alcaraz. At least that has been the case. Last time Sinner defeated Alcaraz was back in 2023 in Beijing. And not in a Grand Slam event, all right? That was the last time Sinner defeated Alcaraz, which is 2 years ago. And if we look at slams, last time Sinner defeats Alcaraz in a slam, which is the only once that he has defeated Alcaraz in slam, was back in 2022 Wimbledon 4th round, 3 years ago. So Sinner has a huge challenge here. And you could see that, you could hear him after he defeated Djokovic. He had that, I don't have the greatest head-to-head against Alcaraz. I know it will be very, very difficult. So Sinner has tremendously respect against Alcaraz. I believe Sinner has believed in himself super, super strong, super, super heavy, and has come into all of his 6 matches here at French Open with huge confidence. I really believe so. Even against Djokovic. He knew that he would defeat Djokovic. For God's sakes, Djokovic. He knows that he has owned Djokovic more or less the last 2 years. He knows that. But this is the only match Sinner is coming into with where he is. Say like this, Alcaraz is the only player Sinner is fearing. Because he's not losing against somebody else. He's beating everybody else besides the Spaniard. Because it takes a beast to take down another beast. What Sinner does so good, Alcaraz also does. Sinner returns good, Alcaraz does that well. Sinner defends good, Alcaraz defends even better. Sinner does great damage in his surplus game. Alcaraz does that even better. The only advantage I give Sinner over Alcaraz, to be quite fair and honest, is on the serving department. But on clay, Sinner cannot come away. It doesn't have huge advantage on the serving department on clay, because clay is the slowest surface we have in tennis. If this would have been on a hard court, then Sinner would have had a huge advantage over Alcaraz. On clay, that advantage, he still has an advantage, but not huge one. And also, he's playing a generational talent. He's not playing a player who is not in his prime anymore, a player who is towards his end in his career, or a player who Father Time has caught up to him, Novak Djokovic. He's not playing against him. He's playing against a player who is in his generation. He's playing against his peer, Alcaraz, and who is a big match player. Alcaraz is a big match player, and who is so difficult to defeat in best of 5 sets. Alcaraz is much harder to defeat in best of 5 sets than what the case is in best of 3 sets. So he's playing against that kind of player, and also who brings such high level tennis to the table, like quickness, like shot making skills, like great defensive skills, like great offensive skills, like great variation, like great returns. You name it, baby. When I saw that Rome final a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that Sinner had tremendous difficulty hitting through Alcaraz. Alcaraz, a huge advantage that Alcaraz has over Sinner is his quickness. Sinner is fast. Don't get me wrong. He's fast. But he's not as fast as Alcaraz. Alcaraz is maybe the fastest tennis player that we have ever seen. So Sinner will have not easy time hitting through Alcaraz. He needs to hit extra balls. That is a big trouble for Sinner. Another trouble for Sinner is he will not have easy time holding his serve like he has had against other players, because Alcaraz has good returns. I don't know if he has as great returns as Sinner, because Sinner's returns are impressing me a lot. So if Sinner lands 51% first of sin, like he did with Djokovic, Sinner will be punished. I can guarantee you that. That is the second thing. The third thing is Sinner will not, when Sinner will hit his ground strokes, and if they don't have depth, a player like Alcaraz will punish him. Alcaraz has firepower, baby. He can hit that ball hard, and he can hit through Jannik Sinner. Another thing is that if Sinner will not have the same kind of a ball. Djokovic was hitting the balls on Sinner's strike zone. Alcaraz will hit flat. Alcaraz will hit with spin, big height of the net. He will have a lot of RPMs on his ball. Alcaraz will attack the net. Alcaraz will drop shot Sinner. Alcaraz will give Sinner all kind of shots. And that's why Sinner will have not easy time with Alcaraz. So Sinner I'm not saying that Sinner is a huge underdog here, because to say that is to overreact, is to exaggerate, according to me. He cannot be a huge underdog, even though it's a 4 consecutive loss. He has 4 consecutive defeats against Alcaraz, but he's not a huge underdog. But I will say he is the underdog. I will leave it at that. Not huge. I will not even say slight. I will say he's the underdog here. All right? But I'm not saying that he cannot win this match. Sinner can definitely win this match. I have respect for Italian's game. I really have. Because he is such a great ball striker. He does so little on first arrows. I don't know if I've ever seen a player like Sinner who hits the ball this hard, this heavy, and with so little on first arrows. He doesn't defeat himself. You need to defeat him. He will not give you the victory for free. He really will not. You need to take it to him. And it is not many players who can do that, who can take it to him. Alcaraz is the only one. So he's not slightly underdog here. He's not huge underdog here. Not at all. He's just the underdog, and I will leave it at that. But for Sinner to be able to defeat Alcaraz, he needs to do one of his best matches of his life. He needs to serve big. He needs to have great spot serving. He needs to do a lot of damage on his third shot, like he usually do. He needs to defend great. He needs to be able to be prepared for different kind of a ball that Alcaraz will hit at him with spin, with drop shot, with attacking the net. You name it, baby. All right? What will Alcaraz tactic will be? We know what Alcaraz tactic will be. Alcaraz will try to take as much time away from Sinner. Alcaraz will try to dictate the rallies, because if Alcaraz doesn't dictate, this will be a battle of who will dictate. The player who dictates will be on pole position here. And I think that it is more important for Sinner to dictate than Alcaraz, because Alcaraz can scramble points. He's great in scrambling points. He has great defensive skills, because he is faster than Sinner. Nobody's faster than Alcaraz. So Alcaraz can force unforced errors out of Jannik Sinner. Alcaraz can squeeze unforced errors from Jannik Sinner, because he will make Jannik Sinner hit extra balls. But Sinner cannot scramble points as much as Alcaraz can do. Absolutely not. So it will be a huge key for Sinner to dictate the rallies and to stay close to the baseline. So Alcaraz game plan will be giving Sinner different looks of balls. Also, he also needs to serve good, because if he gives Sinner a lot of second serve to look, Sinner will punish him, because Sinner maybe has the best returns in the world at the current moment. Maybe he maybe even have better returns than Alcaraz. I really like Sinner's returns. I really am impressed from Sinner's returns. So Alcaraz will need to try to serve good with spots. But Alcaraz has a great kick serve, much better kick serve than Djokovic. So, and then of course Alcaraz what Alcaraz will do better than Djokovic, Alcaraz will have more firepower than Djokovic. All right. So even though Alcaraz will not land as many serve sins like Djokovic did, Djokovic landed 71% first serve sin against Sinner. Alcaraz will not land that many first serve sin. I will be surprised if he does. He doesn't usually land over 70%. He lands between 60 to 65, 66% first serve sin, Alcaraz. But doesn't matter. He will do a much better job on the third shot than Djokovic. Much better job, because he has a much better attacking tennis than Djokovic. He has much more firepower than Djokovic. And that's why Alcaraz will do much more damage behind his first serve than what Djokovic did. Djokovic won only 67% in his first serve. I believe Alcaraz will win more than so, because he has a much better serve plus game than Djokovic and more firepower. So that will also be a key. Alcaraz needs to challenge Sinner's first plus game, because Sinner does a great job there. He puts away so many balls after he lands his serve, both first serve and second serve. Alcaraz needs to challenge Sinner there, and I think he will do that. Another key for Alcaraz is he needs to try to squeeze unforced errors from Sinner, because Sinner doesn't do a lot of unforced errors. Considering how big and how hard he is the ball, it is just unbelievable to see how little unforced errors this Italian stallion does. At least against everybody else. But against nobody can scramble points like Alcaraz. Alcaraz is just such a great player in scrambling points, in defending points, in extending rallies. But if the rallies goes over 7, 8, 9 shots, it is advantage Sinner. Just look at the match with Djokovic. Majority of those long rallies, Sinner was completely destroying Novak. It was not many long rallies that Novak won against Sinner. And I don't think that Alcaraz will do that as well. He will win more long rallies than Novak, because Novak was just outmatched in the long rallies against Sinner. I don't think that Alcaraz will be outmatched and outplayed in the long rallies in the same extent that Djokovic was, but it is not the right game plan for Alcaraz to try to defeat Sinner from a baseline. Nobody can defeat this unbelievable great ball striker like Sinner is from a baseline. Alcaraz needs to finish off Sinner fast in the short rally lengths. And I think he will do that. I think Alcaraz will win the short rally battle. I think Alcaraz will defend better than Sinner. I think Alcaraz will have better variation in his game than Sinner. Sinner doesn't have the same good and the same variation in his game like Alcaraz has. Alcaraz is better at the net than Sinner. Alcaraz has better drop shots than Sinner. So I think that Alcaraz will win this match and will win this final in 4 sets. I truly believe so. Am I super confident in this prediction? No, I'm not super confident. I think that Sinner will do a better match and will give Alcaraz a more run for his money than the case was at Rome. In Rome, Sinner lost his straight sets, even though Sinner actually had a couple of set points in that first set. You never know if Sinner would have converted one of those set points and won that first set. You never know how that match would have ended. But so I believe Sinner will be harder to defeat here, because he has more clay matches under his belt, because at Rome it was his first clay court tournament after his 3-month ban. So I don't think that Alcaraz will have an easy time here. I don't think so. So would I be shocked if Sinner defeats Alcaraz? No, I would not be shocked. I really want to. You never know what kind of Alcaraz will show up. If a unforced error machine Alcaraz shows up, then Sinner will win. But if you look historically, Alcaraz and the Grand Slam finals that he has played before, he doesn't do bad Grand Slam finals. He has won all of his 4 Grand Slam finals. But that is the case with Sinner as well. But this is clay, and on clay, I give my edge to Alcaraz. He just defends better than Sinner. He has maybe a little better attacking game than Sinner. His first punch game is better than Sinner's. And the biggest advantage I give Alcaraz over Sinner, it is the quickness. On this surface, it is not easy hitting through play that are super fast, like Alcaraz is. Sinner he has been able to hit through all of his other 6 opponents so far. Even a 38-year-old Djokovic, who is not super fast anymore, of course, because of his age. Even though Djokovic is still fast, but not even as fast as Alcaraz. So the biggest advantage I give to Alcaraz is his quickness. Sinner will have tremendously trouble hitting through Alcaraz. Alcaraz will make Sinner hit many extra balls. So I think that in the end of the day, I think Alcaraz will defeat Sinner in 4 sets. That is what my feeling. Let's see if I will be right or if I will be wrong. I believe Alcaraz will win his 2nd consecutive French Open final and his 5th Grand Slam title. That is my feeling. That is my feeling, because Sinner just needs to do one of his best matches of his life. He needs to serve big. He needs to have high percentage of first serve seed. He will not come away with 51% first serve seed like he had against Djokovic. But I'm completely convinced that Sinner will have higher first percentage of first serves against Alcaraz. I think so, because Sinner knows it is not Djokovic he's facing now. Sinner knows he's facing a player that is in the same generation as him. He's facing a player who is not towards the end of his career. He's facing a player who is maybe in his peak of his career, exactly like Sinner is. He knows that. So, and Sinner knows that he has 4 consecutive defeats against this dude. Sinner knows all this. So, he knows that he needs to do a match of his life. Another thing, this is also mental. You know, sport is a lot of mental as well. It is not only hitting a tennis ball. Sinner, he fears Alcaraz. Not that Sinner doesn't believe he can defeat him. It is not in that way I mean. But he just fears Alcaraz much more than he fears everybody else. Because he knows, he's not stupid. He has eyes like we have. He's seeing that I'm defeating everybody else. I'm not only defeating them, I'm destroying them. But when I come to this dude, I'm losing every single time. I lost in Rome. Before that, I lost in Beijing final. I lost only 6 matches last year in 2024. 3 of them came to this dude. So Sinner knows all this. This reminds me, I've said this before, like the Federer-Nadal rivalry. Federer was destroying everybody. Besides, when he came against Nadal, he was losing to him. Nadal was not destroying everybody like Federer was doing. Exactly like the case with Alcaraz. Alcaraz is not destroying everybody. Yeah, he's winning mostly times, then he's losing Alcaraz. Absolutely. But he's not destroying them in the same way like Sinner is doing. So this is in the same scenario like the Federer-Nadal rivalry 15, 20 years ago, when Federer was destroying everybody, but when he came to Nadal, he just couldn't defeat him many times. At least not in the beginning of the career. Because what Nadal did to Federer is exactly what Alcaraz does to Sinner. Nadal was extending the rallies. Federer could finish off points short. He could put away the balls fast against the other players, because the other players was not as fast as Nadal. They didn't have they didn't have the defensive skills as Nadal. And that's why Federer was looking ruthless against everybody else. But when he was facing Nadal, Federer was leaking off the stairs. That is the same scenario Sinner is facing. Sinner is not leaking off the stairs against everybody else, because they cannot extend the rallies, they cannot defend as Alcaraz, and they don't have the speed as Alcaraz. And that's why Sinner is able to finish off the points, is able to hit through them, but that is not the case against Alcaraz, because Alcaraz is faster than everybody else that Sinner is facing, is defending much better than everybody else that Sinner is facing, and Alcaraz is making Sinner hit extra balls. And that's why when Sinner is facing Alcaraz, he's making much more unforced errors than the case is against everybody else. Exactly like the Federer, when Federer was facing Nadal back in the day, he was doing much more unforced errors than against Nadal than what he did against everybody else. I hope you are getting my point, my 10 shots around the world. I hope that I have talked enough. Enjoy the French Open final on Sunday. May the best man win. I think that player will be Carlos Alcaraz and will defeat Jannik Sinner in 4 sets and win his second consecutive French Open title and win his 5th Grand Slam title. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and peace.